Well, I've had some requests to show some record of what I've done several years ago. Here's a newspaper that was December 13th, 1990. So that's how many years ago? 90, 20, that's like 20 years ago. And on the birthday of today. And here's one newspaper, headlines, 226,000 jobs wiped out by deal, the free trade deal. This is me, as you can see. They were putting me on the front cover. Let's see if we can get that picture. Where is it? See. And that's just showing some, what does it say? Wellesley woman hits a nerve with impeach Mulroney buttons. These were, like in that page, I believe there's other newspapers, but you can see it was color. And this was in December. This whole campaign thing started I believe it was October, November, and December. It was going on for 3 months. And when it first came out, when the newspaper said they wanted to do a story, I thought it'd be at the back of the newspaper or whatever, and I went over to take a look at it, and it was like, holy shit. It was it took up the full front cover of the newspaper. And it was in every major newspaper across Canada because it like hit a nerve. And to the point where let me see, I've only got a few because this is Life of Hell, lived on the streets, could only keep so much. I've got a lot of letters that were sent to me from a lot of Canadians all across Canada. I have hundreds and hundreds of those letters that I still have today. Not all of them, but I kept as much as I could, considering this has left me homeless many times. Some letters, I've got them in a box. Here's another one. How can I say? Spicer Commission in Wellesley due to protest. What was going on then is that we were discussing, there was a Spicer Commission that, what was going on is we were trying to see if we want any changes within our Constitution. What my deal was at that time is if I could see corrupt government going on, in Canada we have no way of getting rid of corrupt politicians. So, you know, in the States we can at least get rid of them, but in Canada, in our Constitution, we can't get rid of corruption. So that was my campaign, and I just made these buttons, impeach Mulroney, and it just went all across the country because everybody was getting unemployed with free trade. You could see that the whole system was going to collapse because how can you even, like what the deal was is they wanted to make all products cheaper, that we'll get it in countries that our governments have suppressed and made sure they lived in poverty for many, many, many years, so that when the time was right for the picking, we could get them to do all of our labor for next to nothing. For slave labor is basically what this free trade was about. It's, you know, now that we've prepared, you know, the slaves and they're hungry, they'll work for next to nothing. So then us as consumers can get our products a lot cheaper. Meanwhile, they didn't really see that you take all of our jobs, whether it's cheaper or not, we won't be able to afford it. So it is, you know, 20 years ago that I predicted this game was going to come up, and I'm watching another video on WikiLeaks, and they're analyzing MasterCard and Visa and PayPal, and it's like, it's got to be a moral thing. This is where evil is just going to be transformed into something good, because it seems like these credit cards, every time you use your credit card, you need to know that every time you touch these cards, every time you use PayPal, you are in support of being suppressed. You are in support of criminals that don't want you to know about their crimes. These are the financial institutions that are preventing information from coming out. And I'm hearing reports too that they're saying WikiLeaks is just letting out a bunch of nonsense that's just going to cause a lot of conflict. No. One of them is sex trade industry. Your government, the U.S. government, is participating in selling children for sex, and it's coming out of your tax dollars, and you may not be able to control your, who you pay taxes to, but you can sure control your use of your credit cards. And that puts a very large statement, because, as I'll put a link to this interview, I forget the statistics, but it's something like 90% of all of the way we do business is through these credit cards. You can literally shift the way our economic system is simply by never ever using those cards. Pay cash. And it's like right now we are in a shift. You have to use whatever is available to you. And I have said before, you can max out your credit cards. There's not a damn thing they're going to do. If everybody did that, if everybody just maxed out your cards, it puts them in a big, they can't come after you. They can't come after everybody, especially when you see that the justice system is completely corrupt. What are they going to use? A corrupt justice system to come and get you? They've stolen off of you and you don't even notice it. How many people are losing their homes? They paid for them, but yet they can lose their homes? You do not know how large this game is, but you've been manipulated, lied, and stolen from, and yet when you do it back, it's a big, bad, wrong thing. And it starts with the justice system. You can see Assange is in jail and not committed any crimes. He's not even charged with a crime, yet they put him in jail. WikiLeaks is not criminal, otherwise they would have charged him with something that was criminal. But what they're doing is busy creating new laws that protect the criminal. And that's all your laws are. That's why your justice systems won't work. Because your justice systems are specifically designed so criminals can get away with crime, and that's why the innocent people are always going to be looking like they're the ones that are criminals. Half the people that you think are criminals aren't really even criminals. You're only believing it because some judge says, hey, you're guilty. But if you go and look at, they're not even scared to say this on TV shows, that half of these, crime shows that I've been kind of observing that have to be based on truth, half of them are, you better plead guilty or you're going to be facing 20 years and this is what we're going to do to you. And we don't give a shit whether you're innocent or not. You just better prove that, agree that you're guilty with something and get 2 years instead of the 20 years, because you're going to lose no matter what if you take the 20 years. So all of a sudden you can't fight that machine. You can't fight City Hall. You cannot fight government. You cannot change the justice system. So even though you're an innocent person, you have to agree to being guilty and, doing time in jail for crimes you didn't do, but maybe 1 year, instead of the 20 years that they're trying to throw at you, that they're going to say, we're going to do this to you anyway. So at the end of the day, everything's got to crash. It's a matter, you can hang on to a dream as long as you want, but the faster we end up getting this, the faster we can make a change. Our whole problem is hanging on to a dream thinking that something's going to change. As long as you see these criminals in your government system, no matter what country you're living in, because they're all the same, I haven't seen too much that I support, but they all seem to be playing the same game. The ones that are in support of WikiLeaks would be the countries I support. Anybody that's interested in truth coming out. And it don't matter whether, it's biased and it's all one-sided and, it doesn't matter. It matters that we have all information. Let's hear all sides of everybody's story. Take out the friggin' contradictions. Look at the actual end result of what everything creates, which is war and death and killing and, disease and destruction. Everything that we're doing now is friggin' destroying the planet. So how's it working for you so far? You have to take a stand. And consumers are the way to do it. How we consume will make the biggest difference, will make the biggest stand. Yeah, we've got this hacktivism going on that's trying to shift it. And that's a virus that I'll predict it's now licensed to go, because more consumers, more people, every victim on this planet, which there's more victims now, from all of these crimes, they all kind of want a voice. So they're all going to be supporting all of these viruses. So, or these attacks that will grow into a virus. Everybody's going to want to participate in it. You can't stop everybody. We've already proven that. Somebody stole $900. That ain't a crime that the cops are going to go after because there's too much crime. They don't have enough people to stop everybody. So you have to take a stand. And it is, do not use Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal. These are companies that have zero morals. They stand for nothing. And they're proving it every day that we stand for the criminals. As soon as the criminals say, don't do business with truth, they're letting you know who they are. It's not government pressure. A lot of people can still, big, huge corporations like this are, cave into pressure. No, they are the pressure. It's two criminals that, one is in politics, one is in, the economic system, and they both say, hey, you know what, be my friend, stop doing business with them. And it's like, because they're friends with each other, they're like, sure, you watch my back, I'll watch your back. They're two games. There's no reason why any of these financial institutions would have been under any threat. They're too big. They run the friggin' economic system. All they had to do was say, not this time. We run it. We run the economic system. You cannot charge us for anything for doing good business. After all, they do support the KKK and go and look at any pornography, that they don't seem to have a problem being able to do business there. Nobody's stopping them there. Why? Because it's their friends. So anyways, I'll put a link below. Little insight as to what patterns I seen 20 years ago. Oh, and with that Spicer Commission, they had 7 appointed commissioners. And because this campaign reached the top 30 things that all Canadians wanted changed within our Constitution, one of these appointed commissioners came to Wellesley. And it was an interesting day. I hosted one of those. They were only going to major centers, and they were designing, everybody have their town hall meetings and voice their opinions that way, which, I was with these commissioners. They didn't hear a word anybody was saying. They were just PR bullshit crap. I seen that one when they were there. Anybody's opinions got thrown in the garbage, and nothing got changed. Nothing that I know of within the Constitution got changed, even though they put this big, huge, hey, Canadians have a say. Hey, we're putting a commission out there to listen to what you got to say. Yet nothing was changed, and everybody had a big say. So it's like our government here in Canada, follow the money. We're pretty corrupt over here. Not that the people are. Not that the United States people are. We've been conned and conned big time, and we've been believing a lot of lies. And now it's time for truth. So I support truth, and I support WikiLeaks. Peace out.